Science topic alert, mitosis, division of the nucleus. So here we go. Here's the topic for today. We talked about this before, but do you remember why cells can't just keep growing and growing and growing forever? Part of it has to do with the picture you see on the screen. It has to do with diffusion. Why? Because cells, they need to get materials into and out of the cells quickly. Nutrients in, waste out. And if the cell were too big, it would take too long for diffusion to happen to get those things in and out of the cell. So instead of getting bigger and bigger forever, cells will eventually need to divide. They're going to get either a signal from inside or a signal from outside that is going to tell them it's time to divide. And then the division of the nucleus happens in a process called mitosis. That's our focus for today. Okay, so you're going to be taking notes today. The way we're doing notes, you're going to put your name and the topic at the top. It's mitosis, and we're going to submit the notes at the end. So that's going to be a piece of it. Now, for function of mitosis, I remember it super easy. 1G, 3 Rs. 1G, 3 Rs. The G is growth. So what happens? Why does mitosis happen for the G part, the 1G? It's to make cells grow, okay, but also to make organisms grow, to get bigger. So think about that's a reason that we have mitosis more when we're younger, okay? So it's to grow, for growth, to build new structures, to get bigger. 3 Rs, 1G, growth, 3 Rs. First R, repair. And that's when we have injury or damage, we need mitosis to be able to repair those cells. 1G, 3 Rs. 1G, growth, 3 Rs. Repair, reproduce or reproduction. Especially in single-celled organisms, mitosis is simply the way they divide. 1G, 3 Rs. The G is growth, repair, reproduce, and replace. So we have old cells that simply need to be replaced. So mitosis is that process. So what are the 4 functions of mitosis? 1G, 3 Rs. Growth, repair, reproduce, replace. Now, every cell division produces 2 new daughter cells, so every single one. So we're going to start with 0 division. We start with 1 single cell. After 1 division, remember that 1 cell is going to split into 2. So now I have 2 cells, okay? Now I have 2 cells. Each cell is going to divide, and it's going to divide into 2 new cells. So after 2 divisions, I would have 4 cells. Now, what if they go through another division? I'm starting with 4 cells, and each of those cells is going to divide into 2. So how many cells am I going to have now? Did you know it was 8? 8 cells. That's how many I'm going to have. What about 4 divisions? So now I have 8 cells, and they're going to divide again. Okay, so how many would that be? Did you know it was 16? 16 cells. And what if I go to 5 divisions? Those 16 cells would divide, and that would be 32. Okay, and I would keep doubling it every time. So in case you didn't notice, with every division, the number of cells doubles. So I have no divisions, I have 1 cell. I double it, I have 2. Now I have 2 cells. I double it, I'm going to have 4. Now I have 4 cells. I double it, I'm going to have 8. Now I have 8 cells, and I don't have enough fingers, but I'm going to have 16 cells, and it's going to continue in that same way. Here we don't have to take notes. We're just going to think. Do you think all human cells divide at the same rate? Nope. Some cells, like our skin cells, divide faster because they're replaced more often. Or the cells that line the inside of our nose or our throat, those are going to be replaced more often. Do you think all human cells divide at the same rate throughout life? Nope. Cells divide much more rapidly in children or when there's an injury to repair. So you break a bone, all of a sudden, mitosis goes into high gear to repair that damage. So here's the cell cycle. This is one visual to show you. The cell cycle, represented by this whole circle, is a regular pattern of growth and division. It ends with 2 identical daughter cells, and it has 3 parts: interphase, mitosis, and cytokinesis. Interphase, you notice, is the biggest chunk. It's where the DNA gets replicated, we make new organelles, and in fact, that's just where the cell lives its normal cell life, does its cell job. Then we have mitosis, where the nucleus divides, and then we have cytokinesis, where the cell divides in two. So the whole thing is the cell cycle. Okay, and here's another illustration that I made showing the same thing. Interphase, the longest part of the cycle. Mitosis and cytokinesis, just at the very end of the cell cycle. So think, why then, remember in interphase, I have to copy the DNA and I have to copy the organelles. Why? Why do I have to do that before division? Here's division. You can see it in this illustration. Why do I have to do it? Well, each new daughter cell here at the end, these are the daughter cells, each new daughter cell at the end needs to have the same DNA and they have to have the same organelles to function properly. So I have to copy the stuff first so each daughter cell gets what it needs. Whew, here's a whole chart, okay? And I'm going to move this down. Okay, here's a huge chart. I had to take away my face because quite frankly, couldn't see part of the chart with it. And it's important. So this whole chart represents the cell cycle. Here, the whole thing, everything on this chart is part of the cell cycle. Mitosis is just this section. So it would be prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Interphase happens before mitosis, but it is part of the cell cycle. Cytokinesis happens after mitosis, but it is still part of the cell cycle. So the cell cycle is interphase, mitosis, cytokinesis. Mitosis is prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. So this is a lot to write down in your chart, in your notes. So we're going to talk for a little bit as you're writing it down. So what happens in interphase? Little trick to remember, interphase in between. It's the longest phase of the cell cycle. It prepares the cell for division. And it's where the cell grows. It does its cell job. You know, if it's a bone cell, it does its job. If it's a blood cell, if it's a skin cell, it doesn't matter. It just does its cell job. It copies the DNA and it copies the organelles. At the end of interphase, it moves into mitosis. And mitosis begins with prophase. Now, a trick I know to remember these is this is interphase, then prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. This is IPMAT, I-P-M-A-T, IPMAT, okay? Prophase, first stage of mitosis, first phase of mitosis. The chromosomes condense, so I can see them as they appear as X's inside the nucleus, and the nucleus starts to disappear. Metaphase, the chromosomes line up in the middle. You can see that in the illustration. The chromosomes are lined up in the middle of the cell. The middle is called the equator. In anaphase, the trick is away, and the chromosomes are split in the middle at a spot called the centromere and pulled away to opposite ends of the cell. And then in telophase, okay, two nuclei reappear, and the chromosomes unwind. So the chromosomes are looking back like they were in interphase. And then mitosis is over, but the cell cycle isn't over. We need to end the cell cycle with cytokinesis. The cells split into two identical daughter cells. Okay, so the cytoplasm splits. Telophase is the nuclei being created. Cytokinesis is two daughter cells. Okay, the cytoplasm actually splits. All right, so cell cycle, interphase, mitosis, cytokinesis. Mitosis, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Here's another visual showing you interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis. Okay, all the pieces. Remember, interphase and cytokinesis are not part of mitosis, just prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase are part of mitosis. What would happen if cytokinesis didn't happen? So cytokinesis is supposed to happen at the end. What if it didn't happen? What if we didn't get two daughter cells like that? What if the cytoplasm didn't separate? Okay, well, we wouldn't get two cells. And then the cells probably wouldn't function properly, which means those cells would not survive. Okay. And then last thing, we went over your homework. Okay. That's it. Hopefully that's mitosis in kind of a nutshell. And hopefully you've learned a thing or two. Thanks for watching.